Hi, I'm Kathryn Cook, Passion Party's Executive Director, and this is my leader story. So in January of 2004, my very best friend invited me to attend a passion party with her. I was intrigued because I had never ever even heard of a passion party. I had no idea they had parties for sensual products. So I took the night off of work and figured, why not? The funny thing is, at that time, I had no idea that I was actually changing my life. So I went to the party, we laughed, we giggled, we had an amazing time. We learned so much. The consultant, Million Dollar Club Brooke Reinertsen, was absolutely amazing. She was so professional and so educational. And when I found out how much money she had made simply for laughing and giggling with the girls, I was sold. I knew that this was the business for me. The problem was I worked full-time already. I was a full-time student, and I had a boatload of debt. There was no way that I could afford to purchase my presentation kit. So I did the next best thing. I scheduled a party of my own. However, in the meantime, I communicated more with Brooke, and she answered all of my questions because I was the consultant who needed to know everything. I mean, like 80 emails probably worth of questions, and she very patiently answered every single one of them. And what we essentially decided to do is that we would use my tax return money to purchase the presentation kit. So she patiently answered all the emails, gave me as much training as she could, and then finally the money came in. So the party that was supposed to have been mine and my best friend's became my launch party. So I did the party, had fun. There were probably like 30 women there. Now, at that time, our presentations were a little bit different. They included a lot more products and took a whole lot longer. So I made it successfully through the first part of the presentation, and then I froze. I freaked out. Like, I told Brooke that there was just absolutely no way that I could present the toys. So thankfully, she was an amazing sport, and she presented the toys for me at that very first party. The party was amazing. And I actually had one of the attendees tell me that she wanted to become a consultant as well. I had no idea what to do. I didn't even know what I was doing at that point, let alone know how to have a team member. But luckily, Brooke was there, Brooke had the paperwork, and we got her signed up right away, the very next day. So I had my very first team member pretty much by accident. Then a couple of weeks later, another very good friend of mine who'd been at that first party told me that she wanted to become a consultant as well. I almost talked her out of it. I was like, really? I mean, are you sure? Because again, I still didn't even know what I was doing or if I was going to be successful. But she did become a consultant, and she actually was a part of my team for several years thereafter. So purely by accident, I hit fast track. I hit all 3 months, and I was very fortunate that even though we really couldn't afford it, I scraped together enough money for my husband at the time and myself to attend our very first convention in Florida. So we attended. I got to walk across the stage for my fast track honor and got my little trophy, which I still very much love to this day. Now, that's how my journey started. So I immediately hit team leader. It took me 2 more years to hit team manager, another year after that to hit executive manager, and then another year after that to hit executive director. So if you do the math, it took me 4 years to become an executive director. So just know that you don't necessarily have to be the hare. Sometimes the turtle can reach the same goal. And basically you just have to decide what's your pace. So 4 years, which to some extent is a little bit non-conventional, I'm an executive director. Now, so at that point, I actually had graduated from college, which was one of my goals at the time, was to be able to do passion parties to supplement my income so I could cut down to working part-time and finish my degrees, something that was super important to me. So I did finish my degrees, but then I was like, I don't really want to go work for somebody else in some entry-level position making $12 an hour when I already have this successful business that I'm making great money at. So at that time, I officially became job optional. Now, life really changed for me in 2009. At that time, my 10-year relationship and marriage was ending. So I was facing a $60,000 a year loss of income, and I had a decision to make. Was I going to have to go get a real job, or was I going to be able to continue to be job optional and step up my passion parties business enough to be able to support myself as a single individual? So obviously I chose the latter and decided to remain job optional. And when that happened, basically I had no choice. I had to make those parties happen. I had to make the parties appear. I had to double and triple my efforts in both my personal sales and in building my team, because I needed that income to be able to continue to support myself and not be forced to get a real job. So I changed the way that I approached the business. I chanted my mantras like a madwoman. I still to this day, daily, several times a day, tell myself that I'm a party magnet. That's my very favorite mantra, and it's one that I say all the time. I even sometimes put it to the beat of music and dance around my house singing it. So just know that you may not necessarily believe in the power of mantras, but if you like to dance around and make a fool of yourself, putting them to music can be helpful as well. So it is beneficial no matter how you're doing it. But essentially, again, my life had changed. I had to have a certain number of parties each month to be able to continue to support myself. So what happened actually is my sales kept increasing every year. And then last year they announced the Passion in Paradise trip to Cancun, Mexico. So I set my sights on it and I decided I was going to Mexico for free on Passion Party's dime. So I made it happen. So it happened, and I actually ended the year at more than $94,000 in sales and being the number 5 personal seller in the company. I was astounded. I had no idea that I was even capable of anything like that. And still to this day, am incredibly humbled that I have such amazing hostesses and clients that it was able to happen. So that luckily snowballed into another great year for me this past year. And I was able to achieve Passion in Paradise trip for 2013 as well. So it was amazing. I got to go to Cabo, Mexico for free with Passion Parties, and it was just absolutely amazing. I got to spend time with my executive director, Lindsay Goody, and some of my very best friends in this business. We laughed, giggled, lounged on the beach, all for free. So it was amazing. So whether it be a free trip that is your goal, remaining job optional, no matter what obstacles are in your way, just know that if you're consistent and persistent and you decide that you want it, you will make it happen. So I wish you the very best in your business, and thank you so much for listening.